Hello, everybody. Very nice to meet you. I hope you had a good coffee. My name is Maciej Sałata. I'm from Comarch, which is a company which has headquarters here in Kraków. We have more than 7,000 employees, and we serve verticals such as banking, such as telecoms, such as services. But the topic of today's presentation will be about building of an SME ecosystem. And I have a practical case study that I wanted to talk with you about. But before I do that, I wanted to ask you all a question. Do you know who is the sponsor of today's talk? In other words, without whom we wouldn't necessarily be talking about SME ecosystems. And I don't mean that by Comarch, or I don't mean Partner Hub, but the sponsor of today's talk is the European Commission. You see, without the European Commission, we wouldn't be meeting here, right? Because sometimes innovation comes from truly unexpected places. It's like with this joke that we had a couple of years ago, right? Who led your digital transformation? Was it the CEO, CIO, or was it COVID-19? Still, innovation can come from regulators as well, not only from such phenomena as a pandemic. So this all started in 2019. And this is how you can see the 14th of September from the perspective of banks. They were essentially being broken into. They had to share their data, they had to open up their APIs to new competitors, to new partners. And what it led to was a significant change in how the business models related to APIs were evolving from that point on. Because we can see that this is the fundamental point where we decided that investing into an SME ecosystem would be something that would truly benefit the company. And the first chapter was about the proliferation of APIs, because PSD2, it opened banks, it opened the marketplace in many ways. Banks were no longer thinking about just being the suppliers of banking products or services. Now they had much more to gain into providing like marketplaces, into providing single services or complete processes in a bank-as-a-service fashion. And we can see that there was this big shift in the industry, right? The first wave of digitalization was mostly about banks providing point solutions that were not necessarily talking together. And now it's all about composable solutions. So being able to become what we now call a composable business. A composable business is a business where you not necessarily have those silos that are limiting you, but a business where you can easily create new capabilities using APIs by connecting features together. And for that, we thought, of course, what would you need to build such an ecosystem? A new kind of digital platform was needed. In our vision, it was connected, well, it was actually connecting three forces that are driving digitalization. So it was the bank's IT, who wanted to take more and more responsibility. They were venturing into application development, becoming essentially fintech by themselves. Then we have fintech solutions that can be integrated into such ecosystems. And we have a part that is played by software vendors, such as ourselves, who are able to contribute some pieces to this puzzle. And if you want to create such an ecosystem, what you need is a digital platform. And we thought to ourselves, okay, we want to build a digital platform that would be, of course, using the newest technologies, right? It should be completely cloud native, it should be based on microservices, have automation in form of DevOps processes, containers, etc. So this was necessarily because those technologies, those architectural paradigms were driving innovation. But what it also needed to be, in our mind, was that it should be like an operating system. Now, every one of you has an operating system, at least one of you, in your phone. And this role of the operating systems is to provide the general framework on which solutions, such as an ecosystem, can be built. So providing things like user interface, like file storage, communication, security, configuration, ability to access notifications, and most importantly, running business applications. This is what we thought would be the great foundation for an SME ecosystem. And we created such a platform, which would be the foundation of the solution that we built on top of that. As you can see, it contains many elements that are truly basic building blocks, but are always necessary when you are introducing such a platform. Starting with identity and access management, ability to access the storage, ability to integrate with any other solutions. This was the idea that was driving us to build such a platform. And on this platform, we decided that we want to focus on providing some ready-made business features. Some of them were universal, some of them were related strictly to SME corporate banking, some of them were related to loan origination, and there was, of course, space to build many more. Now, what we constructed because of it was an ecosystem that we created thanks to this foundation that we have laid. But the ecosystem, it was created in, I would say, more of an unusual way. Because we saw that SME clients, they have a lot of needs. They are just working like a big corporation, but have much fewer staff. So they always need to, for example, worry about leasing, factoring. They want to access all of those kinds of products, but often it's very difficult for them to contact those multiple institutions. We wanted to harmonize that. And we as Comarch, there's also one more interesting fact that led us to the creation of an ecosystem. We as Comarch are one of the leading vendors of ERP systems in Poland. As you can see, our market share is quite big. So we wanted to leverage that in order to be able to deliver solutions to SME clients, but in a little different way. What we wanted is we wanted to change the perspective. Instead, for example, of a bank being in the center of an ecosystem, we wanted to create an ecosystem around the invoice. Because invoice is everywhere, right? This is the lifeblood of the economy. Every business that is working with other businesses, they are exchanging invoices, they're exchanging financial data, they're paying for those invoices. So we wanted to create an ecosystem around invoice and to enrich this invoice with additional value-added services. What happened is that we also wanted to cover multiple layers of needs of the clients, right? First of them, starting with the basics, of course, the system had to be secure. It had to provide clarity in making decisions, which often means aggregating data from multiple sources so that the clients would be able to see, for example, the whole financial situation. Next, it was utilization of different kinds of functionalities in order to fulfill clients' goals. So being able to take action using the information that we have gathered from all of those multiple sources. And finally, it was about proactive acting. So even if a client hasn't thought about the solution that he might need, the system would be able to intuitively show this solution as solving one of the problems that the client might not even be aware of at this particular point. So this is how we wanted to ensure client engagement, and this is how Apfino was born. This is the ecosystem that we have created. Now, the role of Apfino is that it was supposed to be this fully-fledged fintech that would work, that would provide financial services to the users of the existing ERP systems that we've had. On top of that, of course, it had to be fully cloud-native, and it was necessary to exchange all of this information between the ERP system and the platform to be able to offer those additional value-added services. Now, what we achieved was a completely two-way integration. First of all, thanks to the license that we acquired for the fintech, right, we are able to aggregate data from banks, for example, in order to show the whole financial situation. But at the same time, by connecting the ERP systems with the fintech ecosystem, we were able to create financial systems completely embedded inside of the ERP systems as well. So you no longer had to log into a separate platform, but straight from the ERP system, you could ask, for example, for financing, you could ask for factoring services, you could ask for any number of additional value-added services. But still, the invoice was the center of attention. Invoice was at the center of this business case. So based on the invoice, you would have much more information about the client. For example, for factoring, based on multiple invoices, you would know who is the receiving party, the sending party, and based on this, you would be able to better calculate the risk that is associated with the transaction. And the same goes for other aspects, like, for example, verification of a business partner, ability to aggregate data based on PSD2, etc. So an invoice essentially enabled this revolution that allowed the clients to access their whole financial ecosystem, but with much less risk involved from the institutions that were, for example, granting credit. Now, we have many more integrations. We started this in 2021. Now we have many more integrations that are related to this platform itself, right? Of course, the platform is focused on Poland. That's why the integrations here are focused on Poland as well. We have integrations with credit bureaus, we have integrations with financing institutions, with debt collectors, etc. So many services for the clients to choose from. Now, Apfino, right now, what it offers is convenient onboarding, right? Powerful dashboard to visualize all of the data so that the clients can make better decisions. Account aggregation, data from multiple sources, multiple banks at once. Then we have invoices that are, of course, the source of the information, the core of the platform. And from this data, from all of this data, we are able to provide some additional hints to the clients. Like, for example, based on the invoice that was entered, that was synchronized with the ERP system, we know which ones are eligible for easy financing because, for example, of very low risk of the counterparty. And what we wanted to do, right, since we are a software company, we are not, let's say, expanding this business. We don't have such a big ERP clients base in other countries. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to productize it so that institutions in other countries can also benefit from the technology that we developed. And we decided to use this approach that we call buy plus build. Buy, meaning that you can choose the predefined elements that are part of the platform that would accelerate your time to market, but at the same time, with tools that you could use in order to expand the platform by yourself, using your own IT, using a partner that you have. This is all possible thanks to the architecture that allows for this embedding of business modules that is based on microservices and micro-frontends, has those ready-made DevOps processes for automation of IT tasks, and of course, it is complemented by consulting that we offer based on the experience that we've had. So necessarily, what we have created is an open platform, right, that has this core, on top of which we have built those modules, right? Some of them are universal, like chat and inbox for communication. Some of them are specific to corporate and SME banking, like, for example, supporting account aggregation services, supporting different kinds of payments, factoring, etc. Some of them are related to loan origination processes, which you can use if you want to deploy such kind of a solution by yourself. But essentially, the idea here was that we are building the platform that would serve as this foundation, as this very good starting point for quick time to market, with the ability to be extended. Because what we focused on the most, I would say, in terms of building some external tools, was developer experience. And this is something that is very important. As many institutions are adopting and growing their IT workforces, it's very important that the programmers, the developers, have access to full documentation. They have access to training tasks so they can quickly be onboarded on the platform, that they have access to experts that are available for consultations, but also, I think is one of the most important things, they have access to source code. So even if we have those building blocks that can be deployed readily, we are not stripping the institutions that want to adopt our software from access to the source code so that they are able to engage their workforce even further so that they can extend the platform by themselves. And based on that, what we wanted to do is we wanted Comarch Open Platform to become this backbone, which clients could use to integrate with the legacy solutions that they have, but at the same time, they would be building those new capabilities on top of that, integrating other partners to build a truly functional ecosystem. And what were the key learnings that we have encountered along the way? First of all, the regulations, right? Appification of banking industry will continue. We are sure of that. We see PSD3, we see PSR, we see open finance. All of those directives will mean that access to data will be democratized. All of the players will be affected, starting with clients who will have better services, better control over the data, right? This was something that was mentioned in the first panel. In Europe, we value data privacy very highly. So those regulations will also work on that. There will also be impact on other players, like third parties within the marketplace. Those who survive, they will grow stronger. Those who have good offering will become bigger on the market. And finally, of course, it will have impact on banks, who will be brought to more of this role of utility, right? Their services will not longer be offered under their brand, but still, there will be more and more usage of banking services, even if they are working underneath. Second thing that we have learned, right? Choosing the right technologies and architecture, this is a crucial point, right? Because we've been experimenting with different technologies over the years, and we found that it is often the case that, for example, some technologies are hype, like microservices, right? You think about it, then you see, if you implement one microservice, in the short term, it's not going to bring you any value. But in the long term, if you commit yourself to this kind of a transformation, and at some point, for those who have seen Oppenheimer, you reach this critical mass, then you will have the ability to actually use those microservices in an agile way. When you have APIs exposed, then you will be able to connect them, and you will be surprised how many things you can create very easily thanks to the architecture that you have built, let's say, over 2-3 years. And the third part is about partnerships. When building this ecosystem, right, partnerships for us were crucial because we were not able to cover all areas of business. And if you want to partner with a tech company, there are also some things that you need to consider, right? Some tech companies will offer you a platform for application deployment. Some companies will offer you some tools to build applications. Some will offer you some prepackaged solution that you can either deploy or leave. But when creating an ecosystem, you need all three. Basically, you need to concentrate on all of those areas if you want to create an ecosystem successfully. And let me tell you, we have gained a lot of experience when it comes to working with clients, how we can productize those solutions. So if you want to talk to us, we are right here at the booth. Thank you very much.